Hello you guys, it's me, the MetaVerse Explorer. I'm back with another video. This time I wanted to do a very small video on what we think the team is doing right or what they're getting right. Because let's face it, people in the Star Atlas community, some of them have not a bad sentiment, but some of them have low sentiment at the moment, slightly negative sentiment. And this probably doesn't help that I made a video really recently voicing a concern from a community member. But I want to get the message across that, yeah, I do feel this, but at the same time, I'm still happy with Star Atlas. I was gonna say super happy with Star Atlas, but not super happy. I'm happy with Star Atlas. I mean, they're still working, right? And that's something that is really, really valuable. They're still building what they're saying they're building, right? And we've seen evidence of this. How many crypto projects do you come across that they say, oh, they're doing this, and then a year goes by and nothing actually happens, right? So this video is kind of dedicated to what we think Star Atlas is getting right. I put out a small questionnaire on 3 different platforms, and I got a few responses back, so I want to go ahead and highlight some of them. We'll come across with some key highlights, and then we'll finish the video with the last day of the claim stakes going for sale. All right, so as I said, some people have been saying what the team has been getting wrong for a while, and not really what the team is getting wrong, but the past mistakes have been made, losing $50 million in FTX, the runway, we don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that the community really wants to know, right? And Star Atlas, the team, aren't really sharing this. But at the same time, the Star Atlas team is also doing a whole bunch of stuff right, okay? Let's have a look at, let's focus. We know what the negative stuff is. We know what the negative stuff is. Let's just focus on what is going right at the moment. So, I did a small little survey on my YouTube, and granted, this is a very, very small sample size at only 84 votes. I know that's not much, but it is still good community sentiment. These are the people that follow my channel specifically for Star Atlas. So these are like core community members, right? So I asked in the poll, what do you guys think the community is, what do you guys think from the community? What do you think Star Atlas, the team, is doing right? What are they getting right? And let's see the results, shall we? So 11% was communication, 49% focusing on Sage, 12% transparency, community and community interaction was 29%. So these results are actually very, very interesting, right? We have the least amount of people thinking that the Star Atlas team has good communication. They think, no, they're not communicating very well. However, the Star Atlas community is saying that the team's decision to focus on Sage is amazing. There's 50% of people, one out of every 2 people think focusing on Sage is the thing that the team is getting right. That's pretty impressive, I think. Like to have that majority are focusing on one item. And I think someone else does make a comment on Sage as well. So let's keep going. Transparency, 12%. This is pretty low, let's be honest, in regards to certain items like the runway and how this actually happens and who has access to funding at the moment and like where the investors are, all this sort of stuff. Transparency isn't the best. But hey, like I say, keep in mind, they are a private company, right? They're not obligated to provide you with any financial details at all. They just happen to have a token and you happen to go and buy that token, right? No one forced anyone to go and buy a token. No one forced anyone to go and buy a ship. People buy the ship with the expectation in themselves that something is going to happen with that ship, okay? You got to give the team time to do something with the ship. Anyway, let's keep going. Community and community interaction was 29%. And I think this really goes down to like all the brews that happen, all the community events that happen, 4 to 6 events that happen, tournaments and stuff. I think this is pretty good. So it's good to focus that, it's good to see that the community thinks they're focusing on Sage and community interaction is the highest. All right, let's keep going. I have some individual comments from people I thought is worth highlighting. So Tuan says, both Sage and transparency. Sage is for gamers expecting gameplay, and transparency is for investors. Now this really, I like this comment because it does get to the core of what we're trying to say, right? People who want to play the game, people who want gameplay, they're not really going to go to UE5, right? UE5 is like 5 years away, let's be honest. So that's not really going to give you a good gameplay. Yes, we have the racing, but not really. It's nothing really tantalizing that you can come back every day and play. Transparency is for investors. Now, Keyword, he's saying investors. I don't think there are any investors in Star Atlas. Investment is like more speculators in Star Atlas. Investment is like when you have an investment thesis and you have investment financials and you have a investment report. No, we don't have any of that sort of stuff, right? People in Star Atlas are not investors. They are either crypto enthusiasts who are speculating or crypto gamers who want to play a game and they bought a ship so that they can play a game. I don't really necessarily agree with the keyword investors there. Tomo90 is saying communication and transparency. It's what the people really, really want. Yes, this is true. He's saying, and he's highlighting, he's going back to this and saying community transparency. These two are the lacking, and this is what people really want. But over here, we can see that people are very appreciative of Sage and community interaction. Now we go to Crypto Millionaire. He says, I agree that the SA team is always interactive and responsive in the Foundation Room. This is another big highlight, right? Now, the Foundation Room is like unprecedented access to a team who's building a project. You ask them any question and they'll be able to answer you, right? They should be able to answer you, or like they'll come back and say, no, we're not doing this. But that access to the team is invaluable, right? Let's go to the next person. I never know how to say his name, man. Linkagi.sol. Never seen a team as responsive as the SA team are in the Foundation Room. Exactly as we're saying, right? To basically any question. They will give you an answer to basically anything if they're able to. And you can practically feel their commitment to building their vision of the metaverse. And at the bottom here is Funcracker. You might not be able to read it, unfortunately. I forgot to put his icon in there. But number one, instead of going for quick wins, the team really put time in defining, setting up, and solidifying the various content pipelines that are needed to develop the game. Yes, this is true. You can see that they have done some back-end building, not back-end coding, but like infrastructure building for themselves to bring this up. And unfortunately, this is what takes a whole bunch of time. And Michael Wagner said this himself. But think about it. Once the foundations are built, you should be able to go very quickly, right? This costs a lot of time, but should result in faster progress from here on out and higher quality game. Yeah, exactly as I'm saying, right? It takes time to build the foundations. Then once that's built, you can start running. Communication from the team. Yes, it can be improved, but it's leaps and bounds above most other crowdfunded games, in my opinion. I agree with this as well. I think, though, it's quality over quantity. Just because you have access to them isn't the best thing, but people need to know what's happening to their money that they've given to Star Atlas, right? Marketplace, Polis staking, Atlas staking, all the good stuff they release, they keep on iterating on. So yes, they have been doing a little bit of stuff with Atlas, even less with Polis. Like I said, it's nearly been 2 years, nearly 2 years since the token. Yeah, you can't do much, but this is the long game, right? This is the long game. People who want Polis want to influence something way in the future. Now, is it going to get there? That's another question, right? Yeah, let's keep going. Rome, Zamsaw from Rome, he's saying these are the things that their team is doing well. He actually mentioned the actual items they've shipped, but I don't really think this is an answer to the question. He's saying Fuzzy Lima, the F-Kit composability, they're building tools that build the tools because the ambition needs to invent its own picks and shovels. So they need to build the foundations from the start, right? But I think this detracts from my original question, because my question was, what is the team getting right? Not, is what they're building right? Whatever they're building is not the core question. It's, are they doing it right? And maybe we're not the right people to be asking that. Possibly. Only they would know, because they're building what they think they need, right? Yeah. We have Mustache Ride. He's saying community interaction, the brew events, open question and answer with the team is nuts. And the general level of communication from the team is awesome too. It's not just, yes, we work on this for now. It's, we are doing this because of this with goals to do this in the future. You kind of get what I'm saying with the whole foundation building thing. Some of the explanations for the technical side stuff is really awesome. And we have this with like the F-Kit, the Fuzzy Lima composability that Zamsaw is saying. But at the end of the day, like, you know, they couldn't have done all of this without our money, right? Because we bought ships in anticipation, not as investors, but as people who want to play a game, okay? Anyway, let's keep going. So, Club, Grist from the Club is saying, number one thing, one keyword he said, communication. They're getting it right. So he's in that 11% of people that we first looked at in the beginning. Yes, we always want more. Yes, this is so true. This is one thing I really want to say. People always want more, okay? At some point, you can't keep providing more. You have to have a cutoff point. And at that point, you start losing people, or people realize, yes, okay, this is good enough. But I've always got the vibe that certain things aren't discussed for a valid reason. And specifically, he might be talking about items like financials or runway stuff. Like I said, they don't have to tell us shit. They don't have to tell us anything. They are a private company. Automata is a private company. It's not a publicly listed company, right? Oh, look at that. The water's see-through. Ah. Anyway. Yeah, like you said, you don't like some things they just can't discuss with the community, and the community really wants to discuss it because we feel like we are entitled to 100% of all the information of Automata, which is incorrect. That's just plainly incorrect, right? Shaddix on Reddit, he said, I love to see how they seem to involve the community more and more. This is pretty good because the Star Atlas team is aware that the community is building the game with them, right? They're building everything on chain. If they don't have me, if they don't have other people creating content for Star Atlas, it's not going to get much traction, right? Yes, they can go and advertise, which they're not. They don't have any marketing per se. It's us and me that's doing a video every 2 days to create Star Atlas content for people. So they realize that the community is key, is pivotal to this game. And so they try and capitalize on that. 4 to 6 events, tournaments, all of this sort of stuff. And we are a valuable asset to the ecosystem of Star Atlas, and they seem to recognize that. I totally agree with Shaddix on this one. Yeah. Next up, we have just some key themes that I've taken away from all the responses that I've had. All 86 responses on my YouTube, as well as the Discord communications that we've been having. So the first theme I'm taking away is communication is okay. We had 11% of people say, yeah, it could be better, but other people are saying that this is still pretty good. Compare this to any other crypto game you have. Do you think you communicate more with the team in Star Atlas or with other MMOs? How much access do you actually have with others? The second thing is community involvement. People do seem to think that Star Atlas values the community involvement with all the different events we're doing. And the last thing is Sage. I think it's a great idea to have focused on Sage. Funcracker did say something that it's better that they focused on Sage because it is the more deliverable item, and he's glad that they actually focused on building a bigger Sage instead of just something really super small as a temporary stopgap, right? Sage is going to be the game that a lot more people play than UE5. I definitely think so. Why? Because it's more accessible. You can play it on mobile. You can play it on PC. That's like half the gaming world, right? And the other half is people who are on PC who have a $2,000 computer who can play the showroom. Okay, those guys are like way down the line. We need Sage now, and it's a bonus because if you're playing Sage now, you can go into UE5 and go and look at your ships in the showroom, which is what it's supposed to be. It's only a showroom, right? At least for now, until it actually gets there. Okay, so that's the key takeaways I have so far. So obviously there are some people who think the Star Atlas team is doing some stuff right. This is my opinion. I think they are doing some stuff right. And also they're doing some stuff wrong. But no one's perfect, right? I do some stuff right. I do some stuff wrong. You go ask my girlfriend. Let's go ahead and go to what I think I should be covering after this. Thank you guys for that. That was just a very small video, I thought. Not going anywhere still. Star Atlas, let's see what else is happening in Star Atlas right now. So, Star Atlas did post a little update, like a little blog on the actual Epic Game Store. Not on Twitter, not on Medium, Epic Game Stores. And I was like, oh, this is a bit different. What are they going to be talking about? But it seems like it was all the kind of the same stuff that we already know. Probably just an article to introduce the Epic Game Store people or the Epic gamers on that platform into Star Atlas a bit more. As you can see, you can read this. No pictures we haven't seen before. It just talks about the first training course, dogfighting arena, the racing track, as well as exploring with your ships. You can't do much exploring at the moment, but it'll come later. It'll come later. Next up, I want to talk to you about something in the Foundation Room that Michael did post. I think it's important to cover this, in my opinion. So Michael Wagner, he's saying the reason we haven't been sharing the reason we haven't been sharing Sage gameplay content is that the front end is still largely in development with low fidelity assets. He's saying this because someone asked, why is there no Sage videos, pictures anymore? Like, where are they? Everything before was kind of like concept art, right? A lot of the work that took place last year, beyond multiple iterations of game design to get what we felt would be an enjoyable product, was foundational back-end tech development. This is exactly what we're saying. Building out the on-chain programs for movement, coordinations, inventory, coordinates, inventory, fleet management, play profiles, mining, crafting, and combat systems. These are all essentially feature complete and in audit. We also built an MMO game server called Starcom, which enables orchestration of game state with the blockchain, which is pretty impressive, and blockchain indexer, which I referenced at Breakpoint, with the working product title of Fuzzy Lima. Listen to this. This all took monumental effort to build. Doesn't exist anywhere else in the world and consumed a lot of time. We've had a bit of a bottleneck with front-end devs building capable of building in Play Canvas, but it's all coming together. Unfortunately, the UI is going to be about the last thing we can share, though it's what people will be most inspired by. This is true, right? Gamers only look at what's on the screen in front of them. They don't really care what's happening behind them. But for what Star Atlas is building, they've had to focus on what is the behind section, get that right, and then they focus on the front end last, okay? This is probably why a lot of the community is in this so-and-so phase where they're like, oh, you're not actually doing anything. We don't see shit. But in essence, like, they're doing all the back end. We don't see the back end. We only want to see the front end. And I say this in like the front end of like not just the game, but like what's happening in the front of house. So it is what it is. I mean, they are still building, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm still here. That's why I still make a video every 2 or 3 days, because I can see that they're still communicating and still building shit. Now, you can make the arguments that is it better that something else, them building this that doesn't exist anywhere in the world and took a whole lot of time, will actually be beneficial for Star Atlas? They think it is. Some people may not say so. Some people say you should have used another product out there that can do what we need in Star Atlas. But hey, there might not be any other product, so they have to do this, right? So give them time to do this. And like I say, I may sound very critical and negative of Star Atlas, but I still fucking like it. I still like the team, right? Wagner, he's a talker. He's a talker. Yeah, he is. But he's still building what we need. All right, let's move on. A few things I did catch. Solana Spaces. This is this is a physical store. Not I think it's Miami. I'm not sure where in America. Possibly Miami. This is a Solana store, not by the Solana Foundation. It's an independent entity, but they had this on their screen so people could come in and play Star Atlas just as ship. That is pretty cool. It's unfortunate that there's actually no one sitting there playing it or even watching it, so I don't know what to say. But I think it's pretty cool. Solana Spaces. Now, let's go on to what's actually coming up very, very soon. We have the Atlas Brew schedule for February. Economics, politics, game structure, and community updates. So monopolies in the Star Atlas universe. I think this one will be a good one to actually attend, to see what people are thinking about monopolizing items. And the Star Atlas team don't want any specific people to monopolize something because they want to heavily control the economy. Politics, multi-faction guilds. Leave it, guys. Multi-faction guilds. Yes, we know. Leave it. Game structure. The crew member mechanics will be very important. Now, I know not everything in the brew makes it into a game, but this is just a good opportunity to discuss this sort of stuff. Unfortunately for me, I can't really come to these because they're like sometimes 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning. And like sometimes I come and like, this wasn't worth it because none of this really matters in the end because it's not in the game. And the game is constantly changing. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go to bed. It's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So I'm good. Thanks, guys. But like, I still try and keep up to date. And if something significant happens, I'm going to cover it so you guys are aware of it as well. Now, lastly, I want to touch on before we get to the 25-minute mark. The start sequence does end tomorrow. Remember, this is for the claim stakes. This is for claim stakes as well as the CSS land habitats. Now, the CSS land habitats have been selling only very slightly, but people are actually more interested in the claim stakes. Remember, when you buy a claim stake, I think this is probably over by the time you watch this video. When people buy a claim stake from the team, you get airdrop the mining drill as well as the space station. You get airdrop two things. I forget. Sorry. Yeah, so that's only if you buy it from a primary market, which is from the Star Atlas team. If you buy it on the secondary, you don't get any of these items. But currently, the secondary market is like 50% of what the Star Atlas team themselves are saying. So people are now saying that, well, I'm going to buy a tier 1 for 50% of the original price, and I'm not going to get the airdrop. That's fine. So people are making the assumption or calculation, right, whatever you want to say, that the 2 items you're being airdropped will either equal 50% of the claim stake or even be less. So people are willing to take that chance to buy a 50% discounted item and not get the airdrop because they can go ahead and buy that airdrop for like another 10% or 20%, right? And still they save 30 or 40%, right? So that's what the current thought in the market is at the moment. You gotta choose, you gotta pick wisely. I mean, do you have any posters? Did you get airdropped any of this other stuff beforehand? If you have stuff, you probably don't have to buy from the team right now. I'm not buying from the team because I want to buy from secondary because it's financials, right? What's the better deal? If you're going to buy something, find the better deal. Yeah. Let's have a look at what the actual volume is and what's selling in the structures at the moment. So this is on Galactic Dash. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see here. Now you can go over to structures and I'm going to go all the way down. This is the week of 26th of January, right? From 19 to 26. And you can see in the 26th January week, which is this last week here, USDC volume has been $24,000. And then 2022, where did I get 20? It literally says right there, $42.61 thousand. You see, this is just like ship names. I think Thor was just saying it's incredibly, I don't know what he said. It's astonishing my infrequency of getting ships right and wrong. Thor, I know. Like, look at this. It says it right there, and I'm getting it wrong as I'm reading it. Like, what the hell? And Atlas, 720. So there's been no volume in Atlas for structures at the moment. Let's go ahead and actually look at the bottom here. That's the ships exchange, ship discount. Yeah, I think this, I'm not entirely sure because when you only change it to not access the structures, like when you click on structures, nothing else updates. You can see that. Yeah, let's go to the other one that I like to look at. I don't know if we'll even get anything on there. Yeah, let's go down to StarStat and go to Market and go to Structures. And let's see what it's looking like at the moment. So a power plant of the floor is $10.27. The space station is about $20 on USDC. And mining drill is $8.95. Yeah. Remember, this is a T1 mining drill or a T0 mining drill. Not actually sure. Because remember, the mining drills also have different levels, but we only have the base levels of the mining drill and power plant and space station at the moment. So claim stake tier 1 is $19. Yeah. As you can see, this is like a 15% discount. So $9, $19. You can see that that's the 50% working out right there. Yeah, what are you guys buying? Are you guys going to buy any more CSS tiers? I'm going to be honest, I have some stink bids for the CSS base tiers. I don't care which one it is. I want one of them. I don't need a tier 2 or a tier 3 or a tier 4. I just want a stink bid on one of them. Someone bulk sells a whole bunch. I'm going to catch one and hopefully get it for like $3, $4, $5, something like that. It'll never happen, but that's what stink bids are for, right? Only base tier, 65. Let's look at the differences in the base tiers, right? The mud base tier is 68. The CSS base tier is 67. And the Oyster is 68. So it's still the team supply. So I wonder if that is actually the team's one or if it's someone else that's secondary listing it. And man, that Oyster CSS tier 5, 1.7K, man, Don't know if anyone's going to buy that, but we'll see in the next 5 years. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I will see you very soon, whenever the next update is. I'm doing my next video on... What should my next video on? I forgot what it was. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Ciao for now.